Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into one of the most legendary transformations in all of fantasy literature. When Gandalf the Grey battled the Balrog, fell into shadow, and returned as Gandalf the White.
You know, it's so easy to just see this as a classic video game level up, right? He gets a new, clean robe and a serious power boost. But with Tolkien, it's never that simple. The truth is way more complex and honestly, a lot more interesting. So let's really dig into what happened.
Okay, first things first, and this is probably the most important part to get your head around. Gandalf the White is the exact same being that fell in Moria. He's still that Maiar spirit, Olorin. He wasn't replaced with a new guy, he was fundamentally changed.
Think of it like this. The person is the same, but he's been through a total system reboot. Death and rebirth stripped away all the non-essentials, the weariness, the doubt, and left him with this laser-sharp focus on one thing and one thing only, completing his mission.
So when Gandalf tries to explain what actually happened to him after he defeated the Balrog, he doesn't describe it as, a simple death. It's something way, way weirder, an experience that was totally outside the physical world as we know it.
I mean, listen to that. Strayed out of thought and time. This isn't just about being revived. This is about being completely removed from creation, stripped down to his absolute essence, and then purposefully sent back by a higher power to see the job through.
And this change was profound. He's less of a physical creature and more of a spiritual one. Gwydir the eagle, who carries him, says he's almost weightless. And he's so connected to the world now that he can literally hear its pain. This is not just a wizard anymore. This is a being that's operating on an entirely different plane of existence.
Now, the change wasn't just this internal, spiritual thing. The most obvious, in-your-face change was a promotion. A huge one, actually. Gandalf came back with a new title and a whole new level of authority.
So, quick refresher. Gandalf was one of 5 wizards, the Istari, sent to Middle-earth. And their leader, the head of the order, was Saruman the White. But as we all know, Saruman betrayed his mission, which left a big old power vacuum right at the top.
And this line is everything. Gandalf isn't just saying he's wearing white now. He is claiming the title, the authority, and the purpose that Saruman threw away. He has become the wizard that Saruman was supposed to be.
We see this new authority on full display almost immediately. I mean, remember how easily Saruman handled Gandalf the Grey back in Isengard? Well, now the tables have completely turned. Gandalf speaks, and Saruman, the master of persuasion, has no choice but to obey. Then he breaks his staff, kicks him out of the Wizard Club, an act that only the true head of the order could possibly perform.
Okay, so he's the new boss. He's got more authority, but what about raw power? Is he throwing bigger fireballs? Is that what this is about? Well, not exactly. In fact, according to Tolkien himself, his new power was something much more profound and also much more restrained.
Here we have it, straight from the man himself. In his letters, Tolkien literally compares Gandalf the White to a biblical angel. So you gotta think of his power less like a weapon and more like a tool for divine intervention. Something to be used rarely, precisely, and only when things are absolutely desperate.
And this is absolutely key. Even with all this extra juice, he's still bound by the original rules of engagement. His job is to guide and inspire people, not to win the war for them. He only steps in directly, like saving Faramir from the Nazgul or holding the gate against the Witch King, when there is literally no other mortal hope left.
But all of this, the new authority, the angelic power, it's not even the real upgrade. His greatest new asset, the thing that truly changed the game, wasn't about strength at all. It was about vision, a deep, unshakable clarity of purpose.
He tells Aragorn that even though he's forgotten little things, he now just knows what's happening in places far away. He's not guessing anymore. He's not working off of clues and suspicions. He is operating with a kind of foresight that's almost all-knowing when it comes to the war.
And this comparison right here, it shows you everything. Gandalf the Grey was wise, for sure, but he was cautious. Sometimes he hesitated. It took him decades to finally figure out and act on the ring. Gandalf the White? The moment he's back, he's moving. No hesitation. The thoughtful, deliberating wizard is gone, and in his place is an instrument of swift, perfect action.
And just look at this pace. It's absolutely breathtaking. In less than 2 weeks, the guy frees a kin from dark influence,
rallies an entire army, wins one of the most important battles of the war, defeats his arch-rival, and then rides clear across the country to the next major battlefront. This is a grandmaster moving the pieces on the board with absolute certainty.
So when you put all of these pieces together, you see that the change from gray to white was so much more than a simple power-up. It was a complete transformation of his entire being, his purpose, and his role in the fate of Middle-earth.
It really all comes down to this. He went from being an advisor, working from clues and ancient texts, to being the commander-in-chief, orchestrating the entire war against Sauron with absolute clarity. He wasn't just made stronger, he was made perfect for the task at hand. He became the wizard he was always meant to be.
And that really leaves us with one last kind of chilling thought, doesn't it? If this is what it took, an angelic spirit sent back from beyond time with this much power and foresight, just to guide the free peoples to victory, well, it really puts into perspective the terrifying, overwhelming power that Sauron truly represented.